Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you lovely folks joining me here nice and early at Marvel SnapZone. Welcome back for another Monday teaser for the upcoming tier list, which will be with you live here on YouTube tomorrow afternoon. To give you a little idea of what we've got coming up, I'd like to walk you through a deck that is performing well each and every week here on the YouTube channel, with a couple of pieces of gameplay and a little bit of analysis of the deck as well. So if you enjoy this type of content, all you got to do is let me know that you do. Pop a comment down below. Let us know what you're thinking about the metagame so far and whether you think we're on point from what you see so far. Alternatively, make sure you subscribe to the channel for us and that you're following everything we do here at Marvel SnapZone so you don't miss out on the best Marvel Snap content out there on the internet at any given time. With all that said, today's deck is going to be a Tier 2 deck that I'm featuring on the channel because I prefer the deck I teased each week to be as accessible as possible for the most people that I think are going to want to play it nice and early. And this week's Tier 1 is not very accessible, but we'll get into a bit more about that tomorrow. We're looking at LockThor. LockThor is a deck that honestly has been kind of on the fringes of the format for a very long time, been struggling to shine, but the recent Quantum Tunnel featured location has kind of brought to light just how good Lockjaw is as the card and the ridiculous things it lets you do. This deck is very much built to utilize the package of Sunspot plus She-Hulk as well, alongside the Infinauts and Dracula to give you these ridiculous late game bursts when you don't find Lockjaw, but we're looking to use the card, the namesake card of the deck, to kind of turn these Wasps and these Nightcrawlers into extra copies of She-Hulk and America Chavez and Magneto and big cards way ahead of time. This deck is definitely cheating a little bit by trying to use Jubilee with 3 1-cost cards. You will sometimes miss if those cards are still in your deck, but I found it surprisingly easy to get the cheap cards out of the deck and on the board to make Jubilee into a live card well and above the time you needed to do so. One thing that I really like over the kind of Thanos counterpart of this deck, and the reason I think it kind of stands to break out, a lot of people out there kind of turning to Leech to help address this metagame, help kind of shut down some of the things the best decks in the format are doing, and you have access to the Infinite because of your end game of choice, and having access to the Infinite against Leech decks is actually kind of a heck of an upside, truth be told. I'm not sure this deck is better than the Thanos alternative right now. Thanos provides a lot of flexibility that many players are enjoying and succeeding with, but it's definitely a contender in Tier 2 this week, and one you can use if you're a Pull 3 complete player to charge up on your way to Infinite. Enjoy the games, let me know what you think, and I'll see you once again tomorrow for the full tier list. Have a good one. Galactus, not your friend. We go again. Opening hand has plenty of the early goodies. Again, we'll pop this Nightcrawler in the Space Throne to keep us safe from goblins for now. Definitely one of the small upsides of playing this deck during this next featured location, much like it was during our lovely Quantum Tunnel featured location. So definitely all kinds of pros and cons to being able to play Nightcrawler. Well, we also now have a way of getting into Altar of Death, which is nice.
Face the might of Asgard, Mjolnir!
But with Electro, sadly it's going to die before I can check it out, because that Electro looked really cool. I think we're in a fair bit of trouble here, sadly, but we'll see. I think I'm going to preemptively move the Nightcrawler on turn 5, as I'm scared of getting Space Throne Galactus. Is the truth. Killmonger is unfortunate, but we can work with that. So we just have to not fill. I mean, I could. It sucks so bad. It's so easy for them just to Infinite to Galactus the Altar of Death, and there's just nothing we can do. Like, I'm fairly certain we have to do this and just cross our fingers. This is like kind of what I don't enjoy about Galactus. The game just becomes about something else. Did we get Goblined? We might have got Goblined. Dr. Octopus. You've got to be kidding me.
Mjolnir, to me!
Okay, well maybe my opponent bailed me out. Let's find out, I guess. All Gucci.
Victory!
I do sadly think this one is a bit worse than the Thanos deck, just because of how powerful and flexible the stones are. But it's really quite nice to see it being a viable option, to be honest. You know what isn't a viable option though? This hand, which is terrible. Opponent putting our stats through the floor. The Space Throne. Well, at this point, this Lockjaw is better off being a Hulk, I truly believe. So we have to beat a Maximus over on the left. We can do that. Let's get a hammer into our deck. Playing with the Brood, so we got some surfery nonsense going on here.
Mjolnir!
Surfery nonsense makes a lot of sense. Sadly, we can't Magneto early here, which we would love to be able to do.
Mjolnir, to me!
But this is still a pretty damn good showing for our boy Thor. All the hammers just juicing up. Juggernaut? Okay, we got a bit lucky on the Juggernaut there. Definitely got a bit lucky on the Juggernaut there. So, +4 to the Maximus means that it's going to be 9, 10, 11. So all we've got to do is go Magneto Hammer, and I think we're okay. Fairly sure. Thor and Carmitage is a pretty messed up combination.
Mjolnir, to me!
Mjolnir
Mjolnir, to me!
to me. Indeed. And we have prepared ourselves to beat Double Surfer, so we're all good. Very nice. Carmitage massively benefiting both players there, but us coming out on top from Thor alone becoming 26 powers worth of chaos. That is something that the Thanos version of this deck cannot do. Spoilers. Spoilers. But I think everyone has a pretty rough idea of what the metagame looks like anyway. But we shall see. Full tier list available for most folks tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Some folks will have it today because they are premium members or members here on the channel. And therefore already have access to the tier list, which is very cool. Bishop for the opponent in the Space Throne. So we know what we have to beat. It's going to be pretty face up a lot of the time. So we could hit a Nightcrawler, but otherwise the Jubilee should be very live for most good hits. That's kind of bad. Okay, we're alright. We're okay. I panicked. I was like, the Lockjaw is the other, like, bad hit. Because it might die to something in Hala, but now we do get the ability to kind of just go, which is what we're going to do. Fire the cannon here. Final Sarah. So they can... They can play up to 4 things. That's what we got to remember here. Oh, pulled the wasp back. Dude. Alright, so this is the real Mysterio, which means that it is 19 here. Which means we can't afford to discard Jane Foster. The problem is if they play 4 things, this is also 9. So we've got to get lucky. I think we actually have to... So which is better here, right? We can either Chavez, tie the Space Throne, but have a 66% chance of winning in the vault. Or we can Magneto, win the Space Throne, and have a 33% chance of winning in the vault. So I guess the thing is, if we hit the Chavez that way... So if we hit the Magneto that way, it's 22, which means we don't win on breakers. So I have to do this and get lucky. Alright, if they're only playing 3 things, that's a slightly different story. I assumed we were seeing 4 things. Ah, no! We hit the 33% to lose it. I think that's a really interesting little board state. Obviously got a little bit unlucky to pull the Wasp back from the Lockjaw here. But it's an interesting choice as to how you want to play the Space Zone. Unfortunately, of course, if we play the Jane Foster here, we could still lose, actually. So we had no way of being sure. We could have played the Chavez and given us a higher chance of winning, but it would have been the same, right? Because we would have lost on tiebreakers this way if we hit the Chavez. So it turns out the correct play here was actually the Chavez into Space Throne, because it would have given us a higher chance of winning with the Dracula. Interesting game. I definitely see why this one is putting up a fight right now, and it's really good to see it back, honestly. I think people have used the Thanos situation to cotton onto the fact Lockjaw is a pretty messed up Marvel Snap card, and lets you do all kinds of just ridiculous things with cheating on mana. And this deck could definitely get into a point shootout with decks like Shuri Zero and survive and win those point shootouts, which is something a lot of decks in the format really can't say, truth be told. So, looking forward to seeing more of this one on the ladder. And of course, don't forget, folks, your full tier list will be with you tomorrow over here on the YouTube channel and, of course, over on the website as well. So if you want the full breakdown of what the metagame looks like right now, stay tuned and make sure you are subscribed for that one. But until then, I have been HowlingMines. You have been amazing. And this has been Marvel Snap Zone. Take care of yourself. Have a good one.